I don't understand this. I don't understand why they make these characters look like this. And I don't understand why they can't figure it out. That people hate this art style. They hate it. And they want, listen, Pixar was the dream come true. Pixar was the gold standard. Pixar is what every other animation studio wanted to be. And why would Pixar then say to themselves, oh, you know what, this style that we've curated, screw that. We're gonna try to look like Steven, the universe, whatever that thing is. We're gonna do that instead. Why?
Let's talk about the weekend box office, kids. It's not good for Disney. It's not particularly awesome for anybody, but it's especially not good for Disney. We talk about some of these numbers. You can see Elio, a $300, not $150 million production that some outlets out there are still using a very stale figure on, but a $300 million production budget. We have brought up the article a number of times from World of Real. It's about a month and a half ago now that it came out, talking about how much had to be done to this movie to rework it. But let's look at the breakdown for the weekend. 28 years later, a Sony production, the third in the series, the 28 days later, 28 weeks later, 28 months later, 28 blue moons later, now 28 years later. Still feasting at $30 million, which is a pretty good opening for a horror movie. Elio at $21 million. Again, these are domestic figures. Pixar's lowest opening ever. There were estimates coming into this weekend that Disney Pixar might be able to pull. They were hoping 25 to 30 million. Obviously, they were hoping for more than 30 million a few months ago, but that was gone. So we didn't even get to 30. We didn't even get to 25. Then it was maybe 23, maybe 22, and now it's looking at 21. What do we always say when this happens? That the trend line, by the time we get the actual data, may continue to go even lower. There is a chance, albeit I think at this point, maybe not a huge one, but possibly, that this thing actually goes under $20 million opening weekend, which would be unconscionable. Unconscionable. This is not a rando studio film. This is a Disney Pixar film. This was the crown jewel of Hollywood studio animation just even 10 years ago. And how bad this has fallen apart cannot be overstated. So let's get into it here. They go into 28 years later, and again, I know this is probably not, up the alley of most folks, but 28 years later, I didn't get a chance to see it. I started rewatching the originals a few days ago. I'm going to try to get around to seeing this. I've seen mixed reviews. I've some people saying that they thought it was brilliant. Some people say that they thought it wasn't great at all. There doesn't seem to be any middle ground. People are either loving it or hating it, so I don't know. I was never a huge 28 Days Later fan. I mean, I didn't dislike the original. I thought it was very good, but I was never,
I don't know.
I thought it was fun, but
I never really got into it either. I saw the first 28 days, and I just kept wondering why they didn't bring back Sandra Bullock in the next one.
Everybody's doing that joke this weekend.
I did it first, damn. I don't know who did it first. We all did. I had the trilogy one up years ago before they even announced another one. Yeah, no, I mean, it's horror. It's going to do fine. It had, I'm actually kind of surprised it didn't do a little bit better because I thought that the interest in it was kind of high. But I guess just about everybody who really wanted to go see it, and I think there was some word of mouth that kind of scared some folks off possibly on Saturday. Because there was some people saying, yeah, it has some issues. So there's some people that just weren't digging into it. But
horror is one of those things.
It'll do fine. Yeah.
It is one of those things in the long run. It'll do fine. And the thing I want to remind folks of is that it is still a Sony picture. So that means it is still getting a big fat check from Netflix.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's already paid for, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the budget for this was what? Maybe, I thought I saw 40, 50, something like that. I would be
surprised if it's that much, actually.
Part of that was because of the cast that they had in it, but we'll get to that one. But here's the deal. I mean, well, in fact, let me go ahead. I'll come back to this article in just a moment. So if we look at this here, I mean, 28 years later didn't even make the top spot. How to Train Your Dragon, actually at $37 million, was a little bit more of a disappointing second weekend than I thought it would be. I was hoping to see at least 40 to 45 in that range, but it fell below that. Although it did actually have a very strong performance during the weekdays this week.
It had a good hold.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the opening weekend was a little higher than I had anticipated. It's playing now more on the level of what I thought it would.
I mean, you look at this when it came into the week. I thought this was really something. You had 8.5 million on a Monday. You got the discount Tuesday bounce up to 12 million. You got 8.4 million again on a Wednesday, basically a repeat of the Monday, and then 9.7 million on a Thursday. Which, granted, I realize that this Thursday was now a federal holiday, but still, I mean, that's a pretty solid first 4 weekdays kind of hold. Yeah. That's I mean, summertime, granted, again, looking at this thing, it stands currently at about just shy of 360 million. I was hoping this would be a little bit closer or a little bit over 400 million by the end of its second weekend. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, obviously. Tom,
that's what I'm seeing here is the problem was it carried that same number that it did during the week pretty much through the weekend, and that was the issue, is it didn't bump back up
and
the way
some
it
of
probably should have.
Some of that may have been the audience's, hey, let's go check out Elio, which there weren't obviously that many audience members that went to check out Elio. Yeah. So,
no, I think the family stayed home this weekend. The grown-ups went to see 28 years later, and that's about it. Yeah.
I mean,
the size of it.
This movie was listed with $150 million production budget. And again, absent
it'll be all right.
Yeah. Absent any information out there that suggests otherwise, I mean, to our knowledge, there was no major rewrites, reshoots, new writers, new directors, more voice actors, completely reshooting the movie twice, if not almost twice. So the $150 million listed spend is probably in the realm of reality for something like this. So taking that at its word, again, absent any other conflicting data, with maybe another $100 million marketing spend. This movie obviously also did have a lot of marketing partnerships. I mean, I just saw another Burger King ad a few minutes ago before we started the show with How to Train Your Dragon in it. So that's the kind of marketing partnerships you're looking for. The movie probably needs to get, like we've been saying, to somewhere around $500 million. $500 million globally.
I think that's doable.
Yeah. I don't think that's much of an issue at this point. And again, when you tie this into it being a major piece of advertisement for the brand new Epic Universe, which, again, it was no accident that this movie was designated to come out at the exact same time that Epic Universe opened for the first time. That's not an accident. So a lot of this ties in together. Does that mean it's going to set the world on fire? Does that mean that this is going to be a $1 billion movie? Nope. I think that's pretty much off the table,
I don't think
obviously.
This is going to do as much as Lilo and Stitch did,
No, definitely not, which is a little disappointing because Lilo and Stitch didn't even do as well as I thought that would do. Not by much, but I mean, it's at, I think, $910 million now, which is good. Don't get me wrong, it's good for Lilo and Stitch, but I thought that movie was going to have a little bit easier ride out to $1 billion.
It might still hit the billion, but I knew it was going to kind of
the problem
to the $1 billion line, but I mean, at first I thought it'd do much better, but yeah.
You look at the weekly box office performance that ended Thursday, it was $26 million for that whole week. The weekend that we have here is at $9 million. The weekend last weekend was 15, and the 15 legged out to 26. You start extrapolating those figures out. That 9.7 million, it's probably going to add maybe 5 or 6 million this week to it. So it's kind of, and I don't know how much the international box office is really going to give it at this point. The problem is, of course, is that it's on a very, very rapid trajectory of losing its premium screens. Obviously, Lilo and Stitch had to give way this weekend to Elio because it's Disney. They're both Disney. So Disney wants the screens that it can get its hands on for Elio. That means Lilo and Stitch is going to get sacrificed. And then you've got 28 years, which is going to take up another chunk. You still have How to Train Your Dragon that's taken a big chunk because that's definitely a big screen type movie. And then we start looking at, the next, 1 or 2 weekends ahead, and it's all going to get choked out because F1 comes out. That's going to be an IMAX consuming monster by design. So there's a lot of these movies that we're looking at this week are going to have a lot of pressure to move out come next week. So like I said, it's going to be very difficult for this thing to eke out another $90 million. I don't know where it's coming from at this point. It very well could, but I think maybe at this point, 950 is probably a reasonable assumption to where this thing is going to wind up, which, again, best movie that Disney will probably have all year long. And we told people that early on. Lilo and Stitch, this is the movie that's going to be Disney's hit for the year. and there's probably really not going to be much of anything else. And I don't see anything that's really changing my estimates on that as of today. I know we're still, about a little over a month away from Fantastic Four. Short of something radical changing between now and then, don't see that beating Lilo and Stitch. I mean, it would be the first Marvel movie not named Deadpool and Wolverine to do it since Endgame to get to $1 billion. So, and a Disney distributed Marvel movie, Spider-Man, not Sony Marvel, talking Disney Marvel movie, not named Spider-Man, and something that doesn't involve Deadpool and Wolverine. That again, people looked at that movie as not even being connected to the MCU. That's why they went to go see it. They didn't care. But as far as the hardcore MCU lineage, the timeline, the multiverse thing that's going on right now, it's just not. I don't know. We'll have to see. What's up, Pro?
Hey, let me tell you, I don't think anybody was expecting just how badly Elio could do, and it's actually picking Lilo and Stitch up a little bit. And when you look at Lilo and Stitch 2, you got to say a lot of the projections for the big blockbusters this summer are dropping. All that plays pretty well for Lilo and Stitch. I mean, my gosh, it almost made 10 million, 38% drop going up against its own competition from its own company.
Yeah,
and it's back on the billion radar.
And giving, maybe that's what we were just saying.
It's getting there. I think it might.
Yeah,
and knowing Disney, they'll probably do one more re-release push to bump it up there.
They're running out of room, though, to stick that there. That's the only issue. It all depends on how quickly Disney is ready to abandon Elio. Which
tomorrow
might be, I mean, I would tomorrow.
I would throw on that. I think this is a DOA situation to where,
this is
if anything, you just re-release Lilo and Stitch again in Elio's place.
Yeah,
and you probably make more money.
It's a hot mess. I mean, look at this. Go back to this for a second, and then we're going to cut past the rest of the 28 years discussion.
This article, by the way, Valiant, that you're reading, this article is so funny to me because it gives every possible explanation other than the obvious. It's like people don't like whatever this is that they're doing that looks like turning red. They don't want that. I don't understand why Pixar. Look at this woman's face.
I know.
Just look at the face. It is so freaking ugly. It looks like the Grinch. Why would you make her look like the Grinch?
I don't know. That's what I was saying. With this really, really long front face. I mean, she looks like she belongs in a zoo with the way they animated her face. It just looks weird.
She looks deformed, and I'm trying not to be rude because there's some people out there who have some facial deformities.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Pro.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be very, Tom, I was looking out for you the entire way. But I don't understand this. I don't understand why they make these characters look like this. And I don't understand why they can't figure it out. That people hate this art style. They hate it. And they listen, Pixar was the dream come true. Pixar was the gold standard. Pixar is what every other animation studio wanted to be. And why would Pixar then say to themselves, oh, you know what, this style that we've curated, screw that. We're gonna try to look like Steven, the universe, whatever that thing is. We're gonna do that instead. Why?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, it's funny how quickly they went from their height to the bottom of the barrel now, and it's all because of one main reason, besides the woke, obviously. But what facilitated that whole thing was the firing of Lasseter. Let's be real here.
Oh yeah,
that's what this is all boiled down to.
Yep.
And I mean, I even made the statement the other day, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of it, but it's almost obvious now. Is like how in the hell did they not see that Lasseter should be the guy that's running Disney right now and not Bob Iger? Is beyond me. And now we've gotten to this place. It's like some weird Twilight Zone. Because if there was anybody who was gonna take the legacy of Disney and actually pay honor to it, it would be Lasseter.
And if not the whole company, at the very least, having Alan Bergman's job as head of studio,
right.
Chairman
exactly.
Of studio
If
system,
not, exactly. I agree.
Yeah. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.